So today I drew two.
Right.
And then I thought it needed more substance, so I drew a third from the bowl. And we landed on emotions, success, and gratitude. So I guess we can start. I think we should start by talking about emotions, because I think emotions have gotten a bad rap. And maybe just define, our perception of emotions, because I think, again, it's important. Because people have different definitions of things, right? Like some people are like, you're too emotional, or that. I don't think people really understand the value. And I think, the importance of emotions, which is really how you feel about everything and anything. It's your feeling on things. And it does emit a frequency. I like to think of emotions as a compass, because ultimately how you're feeling you're going to go in the direction of how you're feeling. So if you're feeling shitty, you're headed, and that's the whole law of attraction. You attract like attracts like. So your emotions are there to guide you and to teach you, okay, you feel shitty, you can choose. Do you want to keep feeling shitty going in that direction, or do you want to switch to feeling something different and go in a different direction? So your emotions are there to feel and to guide you. But if you suppress them or repress them, they're still there. They just start to come out in different ways, such as illness and disease, right? So emotions, I think, are so important and valuable, and really kind of the foundation of what makes us humans.
Well, it really is. And I think a lot of people have a tough time navigating, like you just said, the emotions of, what do I want to hold on to or not hold on to? And a lot of us have a different interpretation of things that cause us to spin those emotions in different ways, right? And, my mentor always say, Chris, you always kind of suppress your emotions. When I was younger, I used to be like, I'm fine, everything's fine, right? And put on that shield and protect yourself. And my mentors always said, if you keep suppressing those things, it eventually lead to disease. And he goes, no, what's funny about the word disease? It's a body that's not at ease, right? It's dissonant. It's not in alignment. So you have to find a way to deal with those emotions and release them in different ways. And there's lots of strategies for it. Journaling is one that I've used. Strength training, going to the gym, walks, listen to music. There's so many simple things around us every day that we can apply that will change that emotional state. Because yes, if you're stuck in a negative vibration or negative emotion for too long, it's going to lead you down a path of more of that, right? And so you have to be aware of how to acknowledge those things and make the adjustments to kind of put yourself in the right trajectory for where you want to go.
Which is, and again, like depending how you're raised in society, like we're told to suppress, or it's just like, don't feel that.
Don't feel it.
Yeah, hold it in. Don't feel it. Don't cry. Good kids don't cry, or good.
Well, even me working with NHL players, like we used to make this joke. I used to do all like the combines for the fitness testing for the OHL and Hockey Canada, and you see every coach there with their chewing gum.
Right.
They don't show any emotion on their face. You score a game-winning goal, and I'm like, what?
Like poker
what? Yeah, it's like this poker face they have, and it was just like that was the.
But it's a symbolism of what that is, right? It's like if you don't feel emotion, then you're stoic, then you're objective. But the truth is that are those people really taking the time to feel their emotions so that they can get to a place where they are neutral? Because neutrality is, and I referenced this before, the Map of Consciousness by David Hawkins. That's a phenomenal way to better understand emotions, or the wheel of emotions, right? We often think it's, happy or sad, but there's such a flurry of emotions. And as humans, we've really been conditioned to ignore emotions, to suppress them, to not feel them. And that's the wrong thing to do. And if people have trauma is basically born out of emotions, right? It's how you feel in a certain event. And trauma is usually how you feel, and it's usually negative, a lower lying emotional field. If you don't feel that, you won't heal your trauma, and then you'll go into the world and not know how to navigate emotions. They're icky, or people are like, oh, that person's too emotional, they're soft. Well, I think that is such a blanket statement.
It's up to your interpretation, right? You can change how you respond to your own emotions. Like I've done it for years now. Now it's a different way I look at things. For example, talk about like traffic. I used to get so annoyed in traffic. And I get so frustrated with people, especially slow drivers. It still happens, especially in Sudbury, where I'm at now. It's not the best all the time. But during those times, I'm like, do happen now, I can catch myself and just laugh at it. Because I understand the law of trash. Like, if you're getting slowed down in front of you because traffic or red lights, maybe you need to slow down. So I just reframe it. And now I'm like, okay, I can let go of this ridiculousness. Like, why am I getting so bent out of shape about something so small and letting control my nervous system? Right? It's even like other people. Like people could say mean things about me or be rude to me, and I never take that personal anymore. I used to, but I'm like, man, that really sucks that you have that idea of me. I know who I am. Like if I did something wrong, okay, sure, But that's your just response to me, because I get that a lot. Like, Chris, be mindful of what you say, because people sometimes don't understand you're joking. So I usually have to tell people, like, I'm kidding, right? Because I could spin somebody into this dark spiral web of like, oh my God, this, like you said, the meanest thing in the world to me. So I got to be more mindful of it. But again, it's always up to person's perception of what things cause them to change how they feel.
Well, and you said a good thing, like you can navigate those emotions because you've done the work to heal the wounds that have created that emotional state. And that's the thing with every wound and every trauma, we end up feeling a certain emotion, right? And then we create this emotional state. And then if we push it down and suppress it, like, I don't want to look at that. It's you, like, it's painful. Well, like you said, it continues to fester. And we see this, like, scientifically, we can measure the impact of that emotional state in someone's body. And if you don't feel it so that you can let it go, because ultimately the only way to navigate emotions is you have to feel it, even in that moment of traffic, feel the frustration for a second so that you can feel it and release it. But if you see it and you're like, I'm not feeling that, and it's still there. You're just shocking the bug, right? Yeah. And I mean, I think often, again, people don't see emotions as a valuable tool to help navigate you through life. And if you start to understand and study the different emotions that we feel as humans, you can then start to readily choose the emotional state you want to feel, and then you can start to navigate your life. And that kind of leads us to the next one, which is success. There is an emotional state when it comes to success. Now, everyone defines success differently. And I think that's really important to note, because what you think is successful and what I think is successful could be two completely different things, right? And then you go out in the world and, like, I have a different definition for success when it comes to business, when it comes to parenting, when it comes to health. Each area of my life, there's a different definition of, and that definition evolves as I have more life experiences. I'm like, you know what, that was my definition yesterday, but it no longer suits me today. This is my definition. And that's okay. That can change. And it's a very powerful emotional state. Like, success should bring you joy, should bring you neutrality, should bring you, even a sense of love. Because if you love what you're doing, for me, that's my definition of success, doing what I love.
It's happiness at the end of the day. Tyler, I went at that when I worked by Proctor. His quotes, everyone was, tell me what you want, I can show you how to get it. And he would never be like, okay, your goal is this success is this. That's not fair, because some people don't have the same desires or wants or needs, right? So I used to tell people, if money was an issue, what would you be doing? They then would tell me kind of like how they'd want their life structured. And to them, that's their model of what success is. And sometimes they're also confused on that too, right? Like, I had a friend of mine who got through a breakup, and then he grinded his life to become a millionaire because of that girl that hurt him. And then when he got that success, he was no more happier than he was before that all happened. So he really didn't handle what was going on at that time and uncovering what was going on in terms of his benchmark for what success means to him. Now he's, older, he's got more money, and now he's having a real tough time, as I talked to him this weekend, about, like, dating, because now he's like, I wanted a girl to be with me through the journey. Now that I'm kind of made it in his world, every girl around me is just not, like, they're not into me. They're into, like, the lifestyle that I've created. And now he's got this whole paradox of, like, I don't know how am I going to adjust that. So I've given him some ideas, some things he could do, but it's tough, because, whatever that benchmark is for you, that should be what you're working towards. But if you're not happy when you get there, not happy through the process, then I wouldn't define that as being successful.
Well, and that's the thing. I think everyone has to take an opportunity to really look at, what does success mean to you? And again, it can change. Your definition today doesn't need to be your definition tomorrow. Like, you get to make up the rules for your own life. And I know my definition of success has changed so many times based on just how I'm feeling, what's going on in the world, and, landing in with a definition that actually feels good. Because often, I create these definitions for success, and then it's an expectation you're creating, and you're not meeting that mark, and then almost creates this trauma bond with success that doesn't feel good. Because, like, well, anytime I try to get to that mark, I fail. And so success to me is like, it creates this sense of PTSD because there's a trauma associated with it, right? So I've had to redefine what I feel success is. And again, in different areas of my life, like my goals for success as a parent are different than my goals as in business, right? And I'm fluid with it. Like, I change the definition to suit my needs. It's not the ultimate definition, but it's the definition that works for me.
Well, that's the thing I tell everyone right now, especially when it comes to success. Don't listen to other people's worldly views of success, because that'll paint your own vision of what you want for your life. Like, I use sports as an example. So Babe Ruth was a home run hitter back in the day, world-renowned type of baseball player. He's known for his home runs, but no one knows he has more strikeouts than that, right? So when people come to me with businesses, for example, they'll come like, I failed and failed and failed, and my life is terrible. I'm like, you just went up to the plate, you swung and struck out 3 times. Once keep swinging the bat. Eventually you may hit that and you have that feeling of success, and that will come, but don't get caught up in how many strikeouts. You just got to get up every day and start focusing on that.
Right.
If that's your goal and that's what's going to make you happy, hitting that home run out of the park, then you got to keep going until that gets done. And then when you get there, that model will change, because it always does. We're always seeking another way to grow, right?
And if you let your emotions be your guiding system, so, you know, for me, success should feel good, right? I think anyone who has a definition.
And there's going to be things that are hard. Like people say, well, Chris, like your life always looks like it's positive, happy. No, there's things I do in a day that I don't want to do. So don't get it twisted that like, oh, I just need to feel happy all the time. There's going to be some pushback. But it's at the end of the day, do you feel productive and in line with what you said you were going to do? And did you get there?
And do you feel good? Like,
feel good.
Again, the result of success should be a good feeling. And again, that ties back to the emotions, where if you use your emotions as a guiding system and not a way to punish yourself or reprimand yourself, but like, hey, I've met my definition of success, but I don't feel good. Okay, cool. Guess what? Then maybe that means you need to change your definition of success, because if you're using your emotions to guide you and you don't feel good when you're achieving a certain level or certain goal within your current definition of it, then maybe that's a great sign to say like, hey, this isn't my definition. This isn't what suits my needs when it comes to success. And I'm going to use my emotions as a tool to guide me. And since it doesn't feel good, I'm going to choose to feel different and create a different definition. So I think that's where like emotions, you know, have a great value in guiding people. And then the last one I drew, the bonus one, was gratitude. And I mean, gratitude's a very positive, very high vibrating.
Yes.
Like anytime I'm feeling, I've learned this has been my trick. If people ask, my go-to, if I'm having any kind of day that doesn't feel good or a moment in time, I literally just start to feel gratitude for things in my life that I know I have integrity with saying, yes, I'm grateful for this. And I literally in that moment just stop, I'm present, and I'm grateful for things. And it changes everything.
They can't really. I remember when I worked with Bob Proctor, that was every day. Like we had to write down 10 things you're grateful for every morning. I was like, why do I do this every day? He goes, because you start your day in gratitude, it'll set you up for a better, successful day, even though it sounds ridiculous. Now, when I first did it, and I'll tell you guys the same, you're going to do this. You're going to write down maybe 2 or 3 things. You're not going to actually feel them. You're like, okay, I'm grateful for my house, my partner, my job, whatever it is you wrote down. It could be the sun. It doesn't matter. And you write down like, hey, this is stupid. And that's where you're going to not really understand how to apply gratitude properly. You should be writing something down and you actually have a back feeling around those things that you're putting on paper. Because I've worked with people that are very wealthy and they're like, oh, I'm grateful I have companies. And I'm like, but you're not really, based on how it's coming out.
Emotion.
The emotion's not behind those things. So what are you actually grateful for? It doesn't have to be like, and all the time they would use their businesses as like their thing. Like, look what I've created. Okay, cool. But like, I'm grateful today that I get to meet you. I'm grateful that it's not raining. Like there's so many little things you could do, and you can set yourself up to be in a better vibration when you do those things on a day-to-day basis. But it takes practice. You got to do it religiously, I would say, to kind of get it.
And you mentioned a very important point. It's the emotional state in gratitude. It's not just writing it down. It's you literally have to embody the emotional state of joy, enlightenment. It's actually
you have to pick. And you're like, well, how many things? Because we should do 10. And like, well, I can't even think of 3. Like, I could sit down with you and figure out probably 10 to 15 very quickly with you. But I tell people, like, don't do that then. Maybe just pick one thing. Like, this morning, I'm grateful for my dog, Zeus. He made me laugh. Like, I had a fun time with him. Okay, I could just focus on that.
Yeah.
Out and about throughout the day, right? And there's so many. You'd be sitting in your car in traffic, getting annoyed that you're in traffic. Maybe be grateful you have a car, not walking. Right? You could always spin everything. It's the small thing.
And as you do it more and more, you create the momentum and you start to feel good. And that's why, for me, regardless of what's going on in the world, I literally will take a minute, close my eyes, and start going through, like, even if I'm overwhelmed and I'm like, I don't even know where to start, gratitude. Just close my eyes and start thinking and feeling. And literally now I can embody the feeling of being grateful for something. And it just sets your soul at ease. It creates a sense of peace. It creates a sense of joy. And you're right. Like you're almost invincible when you're in a state of gratitude. Like in that state,
it's really nothing that can really swing you. You're just but you have to get fixated on focusing on those things. Right? It's like I used to people do this in seminars. I know a lot of life coaches have done this in the past. We're like, look around the room, notice all the things that are red, and you look around the room and you see all the red things, and then he'll ask like, what was green? Right? Well, you didn't pay attention to that. You're going to focus on the red. The green, it could be the gratitude thing, but the red thing could be all the trauma and craziness going on in your life. So you keep looking around life and you keep seeing all those things. No wonder you're feeling this way. Focus on the green.
Yeah.
And then as you start doing that, maybe you start feeling better. Oh, there's something green over here.
Yeah.
And before you know it, the same environment has changed. But the real thing is your perception has changed.
You've changed, right? And that's the whole, again, like attracts like. So if you get into a state of gratitude, and again, you choose those emotions, and that's where feeling the emotions, getting to know emotions, studying them, when you start to be able to consciously choose and say, I'm going to choose gratitude right now, and you fully embody it and feel it emotionally, you start to put that vibe out there. And I get why Bob made you do it at the beginning of the day, 'cause it's like set the tone for your day. You know, if you set the tone swearing, you're upset, we are going to track that throughout your day. If you set the tone and you feel grateful, you're going to attract more things in your life. Like you said, you're going to start paying attention now to that color, to the color of gratitude, and you'll attract more gratitude. And I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. It's taken me years and years and years of practice. I'd say this year was probably one of the fundamental years that I said, okay, gratitude, just anything's wrong, you're not feeling good, gratitude. Like I always go back to, it's almost like that grounding moment of feel grateful for, list as many things as you can and feel the love you have for those things. And, you know, and then that ties into success too, because the more grateful you are for the things you have, you'll bring more of that in. And abundance, I think, is in many people's definitions synonymous with success or parallel to it, where it's like if you're abundant, and not just financially, you're abundant in life and all of
Yes, so a lot of people attribute success with money, and I think that's a big problem right now because we're starting to see that, the disconnect. And how I noticed that was what I did work with Bob. Like, there's people going to his seminars that are millionaires, billionaires, very wealthy, connected people that are depressed and not happy. And I'm like, you would be like, if I looked at you, you have everything great. You've got family, you got a wife, you got kids, you got a big booming business, you have no stress about money. All these things look so great, but what is the thing? And he's like, I'm depressed. I don't like my life. And so it's like, that's what I tell people, design your life around what you want. Like, success could mean different to every person in terms of like what they want. You could be success in your relationship. You can be success in your office as an employee. Like, that can change for every person. So don't get caught in this whole world of trying to chase the dollar thing. Don't get me wrong, money is important. You need to survive. So you have to find a way to earn a living, but don't get caught up in that being the main defining factor of like, this will make me successful. Because I met the guys that are there, and sometimes it's not the case.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it all goes down to what you decide is your definition of success. And, you know, and how these kind of tie together is like emotions, in my opinion, you need to feel them. You need to learn what the emotional states are, and you need to start to study emotions and better understand how you connect with every emotion and feel whatever it is that you are feeling emotionally so that you can move through and let it go and then consciously choose your emotions. And then with success, it's about creating your own definition so that you and change it every day if you need to.
Yeah.
Create a definition that works for you, that is not going to set expectations that if you don't achieve them, you'll be upset. Create something every day. You know, maybe do a 30-day, every day I'm going to change my definition of success today.
Well, you have to create that. Even me, like, I'll look at my life. So prior to coming to Sudbury, like, I was like, oh, Chris is successful what he does. Like, I was training, working like 10, 12 hours a day training people. And everyone's like, wow, like, that's crazy. Like, look how busy you are. And I'm like, wouldn't it be great if I could create my own life where I'm not working as much, but making the same amount of money? Then I moved to a new city. I don't know anybody here. It took a year. Now I'm earning more money, working half the hours that I was 2 years earlier. So everyone would look at me now, and I have my friends back in Toronto be like, why are you in Sudbury? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're go. Like, it doesn't seem like, he said, no, I've created a new version of success for me, a new hybrid way of living, where I have like a couple businesses I like. I create a lifestyle where I get to work on my health a lot. I get to help people. And all of that came from me defining what does success mean to Chris now. Instead of being like, he needs to run 100 gyms. No, like, that seems to me now like I want to shoot myself in the face if I had to do that. So you have to figure out what that is for you.
That's it. And then when it comes to gratitude, just feel it. Like, create a space, whether it's at night, in the morning. I always used to do this activity. It wasn't as extensive as 10 things that you're grateful for, but it was like, okay, 3 wins that day, 3 things you're grateful for, and 3 wants. And just do that consecutively for 30 days, whether it's morning, night, or both. It just getting yourself into that place where you could feel grateful and feel the love for the things that you have will always bring more into that. But it's hard to get there until you've felt the emotions you need to feel and all the other, I'd say, negative or lower level emotions in the trauma. It's hard to get to gratitude if you haven't cleared the path. And clearing the path means feeling the emotions that you have to feel so that you can move through them. You got to go through the storm so that you know how to weather the next one, right?
Even when I worked with Bob, like with gratitude, he used to carry this gold card around with him in his pocket, and people didn't know this unless they knew him. And he would write on it he'd write a statement. And he's like, every time you write down what you're grateful for, your goal or gratitude has to be written in the present tense, not future based, right? So you'd be like, I'm so happy and grateful now that, and whatever the goal is, and he would sign it. And he told me this, no one else knows this. I've seen people write this down, and I don't know why he told me to do this, but he goes, once you sign that thing on the apostrophe, right, it is so. I've never heard him say that to anybody else, but to me, he's like, put that on the thing. And he go, I'm like, well, why? He's like, it is so means it just happened, right? And so every day, he's like, carry this card with you and have it in your pocket. So every time you reach in your pocket for your phone or keys, you'll feel that card, and then you'll have that picture. And the more of that picture shows up while you're working and doing those things, chances are those things are probably going to happen a little quicker for you. But gratitude was the energy that you wanted to send at all times.
That's really cool. And I mean, again, it's and you're right. Once you do it in the present state, it is the way it is. And you start attracting that. You know, if you start going into the future, well, then you're chasing your tail. Because if you're constantly setting something up for the future, you need, almost like even your definition of success, it needs to be a present statement. So you can almost create a statement of gratitude that is your statement of success, and that has all the good emotions that you want and need to make it happen. And again, these things take practice. Like, I've been doing this for, over 20 years, and sometimes things just click. Like, there's some things this year that just clicked for me that I was like, oh, gratitude. I've been doing it, but now I'm really doing it. And so it really transforms my day. If I'm having a rough day, like, just that moment of taking stock of all the good things in your life, it fills your cup and you can take on your day. So, I mean, I would suggest, work on your emotional states, work on your definition of success, and always create space to be grateful, because there's a lot in this world that I think everyone can be grateful for. So thanks for listening, and hope you're enjoying this. And if you have any comments or any ideas for future podcasts, let us know.